Well, it's Monday night. It's 8 o'clock. It's time for Nerd Initiative TV Talk. Somebody play the intro.
I heard you on the wireless back in 52. Lying awake, intent and tuning in on you. If I was young, it didn't stop you coming through. They took the credit for your second symphony, rewritten by machine and new technology. And now I understand the problems you can see. I met your children. What did you tell them? Radio killed the radio star. Oh, radio killed the radio star. Oh, pictures came and broke your heart.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, everybody out there coming at you live and direct, straight from the sanctum of awesome. My name is Off the Cuff Tom, Nerd Initiative's pop culture connoisseur. It is always a pleasure to start your week off right here on Nerd Initiative with me talking about TV. Now, last 2 weeks we have done some catching up on Umbrella Academy seasons 1, 2, 3. We are now on season 4, the final season of the Umbrella Academy. Gerard Way's wonderful Dark Horse comic now brought onto the small screen. Man, that'd be nice to see it on big screen. I bet you they did some red carpet premiere thing at some point. I think that would be awesome. Anyway, so having that said, we're going to be doing 2 episodes here for the season 4 of Umbrella Academy. Why? Because trying to cram everything into one episode, all 6 episodes, doesn't seem like that's a good fit. So we're going to do 3 tonight, and we're going to do 3 next week. Then I'm going to take about a week off because, well, you'll find out soon. If you follow me on the socials, you'll see why. You know, because we love QR codes, because you can just follow along, boom, on the socials right there. All right, so let's get everything started off. All right, let's throw up all of our little things that are going here, because we have all the things. Push the buttons. This is all self-produced by moi. So sometimes, technical difficulties happen. Come on. There we go. Talk amongst yourselves. It's wonderful. All right. So that should be doing its thing now. Boom. We got that. Boom. We got that. Oh, no, we don't want this background. Not for this show. So let's switch that up. We're going to put me up here. We're going to put that down there. And there we are. We're talking TV. This is fantastic. Let's adjust the camera. Do we have to adjust the camera? Look at this. I'm all the way over here. I'm going to be all the way over here. Where's my camera adjuster? Adjust my thingy. Camera adjust my thingy. Where'd it go? There it is. So we're going to go that way. No, not that way. I'm going to go that way. Yeah, there we go. Camera adjust my thingy. Awesome. By the way, the figure that fell during our last live on Wednesday still has not gone back yet. Just so you know. Because gravity. Anyhow, so let's talk about Umbrella Academy Season 4. First thing, starts off real cold. Boom, 6 years later. I think this is a great idea. Let's do a little time skip. Makes sense. Actors have gotten older. There's literally have been some time in between, Obviously 5 still looks like the boy, but now he's looking more like the man. So aging him up, I think, makes a really good idea. Plus, if we do the math right, he was 15 at the time. So if I did my math right, so technically now he's 21. So things happen. Everybody has lost their powers. Evident right here. So let's run down everybody here in the picture. First, we have Klaus. Klaus is now the big, huge germaphobe. Because he's living some kind of sober and clean life. Now that's awesome because he doesn't have the powers to bother him, to affect him, that he needs to unplug and unwind for the world. So I get that. That's cool. But he's gone a little too much. Allison is trying to be super mom, super TV star mom, but she's pretty much super commercial mom. Things have happened. Now, if we take a look at Luther, whoa, what is up with Luther? well, not having any powers somehow retracts his whole body back. So now he's just in amazing shape, but like the point that he's a male dancer, but no big ape body. Ben has been in jail. He's been a friend courtesy of the local jail system, which I think is hilarious. Five is now working for the CIA. He's a spook. I think that is a great choice. How someone at his age was able to pass the test, I get it. But at the same time, he's got the life experience. God knows he's 80 something now in a 20 something year old body. Victor is living in Canada. Blame Canada. Blame Canada. That's cool. He has a whole life up there. He owns a bar and apparently is not very good with the fare of the species. And then we've got Diego and Lila, who are doing their best to live the happy married life. Diego has one of those, Trustin Brown jobs, delivering packages, and obviously not having powers, he breaks everything. And Lila, on the other hand, is trying to be the great suburbanite mom. Yeah, not happening. She has a book club though, and we all like book club. So as things go on and progress, Luther picks up Ben from jail, because he needs a solid address. The actual Hargreaves School for Wayward Boys is where Luther lives, and he's been trying to fix it up, but it is a very Sisyphean task at this point. So shame on that. I think it's a great idea that with this new timeline that they're in, that things are very different from the way they were. Again, it just establishes a whole idea of where is everybody mentally. Going back to it, I mean, with Ben is it's bad Ben. It's Sparrow Ben. Remember, it's not original Ben. Ben died during the Jennifer incident. It was a tragic accident. We failed as a team. Ben was the best of us. Ben was the Umbrella Academy. Through and through. Weird. So as that goes on, we find out that, there's this weird town and there's this girl who shows up and, there's shots. The reason there's shots is because there is a guy who if you don't recognize who this is Cy Goldman. But more importantly, that is Jennifer's father for the episode. So that's always great. David Cross is playing Cy Grossman. Excuse me. Cy Grossman is playing Jennifer's father, who says you need to find her. Now, mind you, nobody knows who Jennifer is at this point. We just know that, this whole thing about an incident with Jennifer years ago. Says, hey, can you help me find my kid? That everybody takes on the job. When they find Mr. Grossman and find Jennifer's things, there is a jar of marigold, the same exact substance that, Hargreaves put out way back when, that made all these children on October 1st, 1989, born. Same thing that gave everybody else their powers. So this is interesting. How did he get the marigold? Especially being a rando in the middle of nowhere who owns a laundromat. Well, Sparrow Ben's kind of pissed about all this. And back when they're at the Benihana, when they were finally getting together, he slips the marigold in everybody's drinks. Everybody except Klaus drink it because Klaus is living a sober and clean life. And good for him. Well, the next day, instead of having a terrible hangover, everybody's having some adverse effects to this janky marigold. And it's interesting how it's going to play out because everybody gets their powers back-ish. Diego obviously still has that awesome re-aiming or trajectory or luck, whatever it is. So He realizes that at his job. Ben starts getting his tentacles on again, but this time now they're coming from his back and not his stomach. Luther's on stage one day doing, and then all of a sudden it kicks in and his body grows back to the big old gorilla self. Allison's powers have evolved. She doesn't have to say, I heard a secret. She just has to look in the general direction and everybody's eyes glaze over. So, like, her telepathy powers are definitely kicked up a notch. Victor's powers are a little different now. Still creating sound and energy waves and matter, but it's not blue. It's orangish. It's more, I wouldn't say focused like it was when blue, but it was more ferocious. It felt more tangible. I don't know. There's a word out there that I'm looking for. So Lila now has laser beam eyes. She hasn't been able to mimic anybody yet, but she has laser beam eyes. And then 5. Good old 5 can blink to one place. All he can do is blink to a strange subway platform. And that platform has that weird alien text that we've seen before. But if he starts riding the trains, he goes to different dimensions or timelines. We're still working on that. So anyway, so everybody gets their powers back and they figure, okay, well, now we're going to go get Jennifer. Klaus decides to stay behind. And unfortunately, in the whole idea of trying to get Jennifer out of this town, Ben happens to meet with her randomly, complete total happenstance. Everybody gets attacked. The whole town comes to attack the team. Why? Apparently Jennifer is special. We don't know how just yet, but she's special. So that's fun. So with her being special now and everybody's getting attacked, they finally get back to the car. Klaus gets shot. Now, how do you fix the guy who can come back from the dead? You pour the extra marigold in his stomach, thus bringing him back to life and giving him back all of his old problems. So now everybody's got their powers again, all because of this guy had a random janky jar of marigold that was used on Klaus just right there, which I got to say, that was a great effect. I don't know if that was practical effect or if that was CGI. Either way, it looked so solid and tangible in that salt and pepper shaker jar looking thing. Honest to goodness, I think that really is just like someone took a sugar shaker and just put an old bell on top of it. So sorry if I'm giving away movie magic here. So Klaus now his powers back. It's really fun and interesting. Now during the whole time before all this leads up, Lila is going to book club, much to Diego's dismay. But it's something to get her out of the house because she loves being a suburban mom. In doing so, she's actually not going to book club. She instead is going to a weird secret organization meeting called the Keepers. They're also on Five's radar for the CIA. And when you get there, you're introduced to the Thibodeaus. Gene and Jean Thibodeau, played by Megan Mullally and Nick Offerman. Nick Offerman always plays a very standoffish, interesting character, but Megan Mullally, you got to give her credit. She plays a quirky bad guy like nobody's business. So the Thibodeaus, Gene and Jean, who love to play bridge apparently, are trying to find artifacts or different things from other timelines that have come through time and space and are now in our reality. They found a video that had Allison's Hargreaves name and Allison's new name. There have been things about the sparrows and the umbrellas and all different sorts of things, comic books. They really believe that there is another timeline out there and this is not the one true timeline. These guys are creepy as heck. They wear matching outfits at all time. They don't even say Mr. Jean or Miss Jean. It's just Jean and Jean. It's very cold. It's very, okay. Well, hey, Jean. Hey, Jean. It's very interesting, and I love to see how they play off each other. Now, when at some point we finally get a background story during one of the openings about Jennifer. Jennifer was found in a squid, of all things, in a squid. As a young child, said the cleanse is coming. And that's what made Mr. Hargreaves finally decide, hey, we're going to go and protect this girl. And that's why everybody in this town, when the kids went to go and investigate, tried to kill them because they all work for Hargreaves. And obviously, a lot of them, all of them actually, have mixed feelings when it comes to Dad because he restarted the universe. And they don't know whether to trust him or not. So, how do you deal with that? How are things like that going on? Well, what's interesting is Jennifer finally jumps ship because the Thibodeaux ram the side of the bus that, their little camper van Diego and Lila own, and steal her and bring them to their ranch, of which they have the desiccated, dried out body of the squid from 20 some odd plus years ago. Creepy as heck, and I didn't think that a large squid body like that could live that long without decaying completely. So weird, so creepy. So the kids decide, well, we don't know what's going on about why is it everybody at this town tried to kill them because of the issues they're having with getting Jennifer when it was all the Hargreaves people, Hargreaves Tech or militia that was under Mr. Hargreaves on their payroll, trying to stop them from taking Jennifer. So they finally decide, hey, let's go to Dad's house. Just like that. And thinking that they weren't going to be welcome, quite the opposite. They were welcomed right on in. Right on in. And they finally get to meet Mrs. Hargreaves. Now, Mrs. Hargreaves was Reginald's wife that we finally met at the end of the season 3 finale during the restart of the universe, but she's been mentioned several times. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. I'm down for it. You walk in and she is playing the violin. I wonder why Victor had to learn violin when they were a little kid. It's pretty freaking interesting. They sit down, they start chatting. You finally meet Abigail. They're trying to come up with this whole idea and concept. It's just so freaking weird. Like, okay, you're here, you're welcome. And then they finally meet Reginald. Reginald turns around and Victor just goes off. I didn't get a good picture. All I got is this one of just watching Victor wrapped in their powers and abilities, ready to go. Wow. It looks like Havoc. That's the character I was looking about. So if you watch Victor and their new powers, you will notice it very much looks like Havoc from X-Men. A very physical, visceral version of what sound could look like. Now, speaking of Reginald, right there, Reggie is a very different person. This is not the same Reginald that we had met in the previous seasons, whether it was season 1 or Young Dad in season 2, or I'm going to restart the universe, sneaky son of a gun in season 3. This is a Reginald who has no concept of anything that has happened before. So it's kind of nice to have a fresh reboot. But at the same time, Abigail is just as important, keeps him in check. So finally, we meet somebody. It only took 4 seasons, or 3 seasons and 2 episodes to finally meet somebody that can put the great Sir Reginald Hargreaves in check. Just like any good marriage, it's his wife. When they asked about who Jennifer is, the Jennifer incident came up again. And that's when everybody started saying, there was an accident during the Jennifer accident. Ben died. It was a tragic accident. We all failed as a team. Ben was the best of the Umbrella Academy. Ben is the Umbrella Academy. Everybody knew that, with the exception of Victor, because Victor wasn't there on site, because at that point, Victor didn't have hold of their powers as a young child. So it was, let's see, Diego, Allison, and Luther all remember what happened. And Five was like, you messed with their brains, didn't you? Because Five wasn't there because he had already blinked out of time. So Five realized, being a spook, that somebody was messing with their brains. And of course, plot hole, Reginald has a device to give them back their brain capacity. Okay. So with that, they decide to go downstairs and get hooked up to this machine. Victor even offers to get their memories back, even though nothing happened. So I don't know how that's going to lead into. Five was offered, but he said back to Reginald, "No, I like my gray matter intact." And just before Diego got hooked up from Lila, because she didn't need to be hooked up, she decided they need a break in their marriage. And I get that because, again, she went from murderer, time traveling murderer, assassin to soccer mom. Little bit on two different levels there. There's a lot of blue in the screen. Anyway, just saying. So after that, they get hooked up and then seen. Now, at the same time, while everything is going on, Ben, being Sparrow Ben, does not want to be a team player, so he decides to go off on his own because when they had the car accident, Ben and Jennifer touched each other, and there's some weird power transfer going on, and it's starting to affect Ben. He's starting to get these weird veiny things going on, creeping up his arm. They're connected, so when Jennifer was taken from everybody by the genes, they could both kind of communicate with each other. You saw this redness come over them. It's very creepy, and obviously this is going to have to do something with the finale or how their power is going to manifest. So when the kids were talking to Sir Reginald, they asked, well, is Jen like us, born on October 1st, 19, I said, nope, she is not. She is more. So I'm really interested to see where they go with this. I really can't help to think that, we've got only 6 episodes. How much are they going to cram down our throats? It's really weird. Now, going back to, say, other little side stories. So we got Ben going on over here. 5 is still dealing with whatever's going on with his abilities. When there was the attack on the town trying to get Jennifer out, Lila just happened to be next to 5, so they blinked together and started riding the subways. Great idea. 5 actually ran into his older version of himself, who started taking shots at him. You can't go wrong with a show like that plays around with time. I think the idea of this whole subway thing is really smart, hence, the really cool thumbnail I did for today. It should be playing. All right. Don't know why it's not moving. There we go. So again, this is a great idea how they did this, and the fact that it's got the final timeline, it's got all the numbers, and then an L for that 8th track for Lila, H for Hargreaves. I think that was really smart how they did that. So let's talk about some pros and some cons so far. The first 3 episodes. Pro: time jump. Characters get to develop. People get to evolve. The actors themselves get to bring something new to the role. Con: Klaus's character being toned back so much to the point of being a shut-in invalid, hypochondriac. Not a fan. Don't get me wrong, the actor can play it off, but I didn't like what they did with the character. Pro: Luther dancing. Con: Luther dancing. Of all the things in the world that this good-looking bro could have done, like he's a bimbro, could have been doing, himbro, bimbro, I don't know what the word is. I don't speak the vernacular. They had to make him a male dancer. Like, you could have made him a construction worker. You could have done a bunch of things. Diego and Lila having this great suburban, 2.5 kids story is awesome. Victor living alone in Canada, running a bar, stretch it thin. Allison finding out that her and her husband broke up, so everything that she did to try and get her husband and daughter back was all for naught, was awesome. Which totally gives you a great another reason to follow Allison and figure out what they do with her storyline. There are so many elements that they have brought to the table right now with Umbrella Academy season 4, just in the first 3 episodes. I personally have not watched the next 3 episodes. That's because I want to be fresh. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. That's what next week is for. But what do you think? Now, if you've watched the whole season, go ahead. No spoilers, but let's talk about what were some of your highs and lows in the chat and the super chat or in the comments below. Whatever's good for you. Talk about it. That's the whole idea here. I don't think there really has been a misstep just yet. I think everything's been paced out really well. There's no empty lines. There's no drop scenes. There's no scenes that are stretched out for no apparent reason. It's all smart and wisely done. Where do you think that they're going to go is the big question. What do you think they can do? Now, I know that there's a few pictures out there on the internet of this, that, and the other thing that's going to happen with them. And there's a whole bunch of channels and other websites that have talked to spoilers already. But again, I'm here. I'm not talking about it. We're talking about the first 3 episodes. I really can't find anything at fault. The whole timeline idea and the whole subway idea is great. Upping some of their powers, I think, is a smart idea. Should they have done them all across the board? Maybe. I think that Diego's has evolved because when you saw him get his powers back, he didn't even have to look, and the item was going right in the mailbox all the way across the street. So I think that his powers have evolved. Allison's, we know, has evolved. Luther, haven't seen much out of it except just more hair, obviously. Victor has almost a new skill set. Klaus, you can't tell, but it looks like everything's still pretty much the same. And then 5 being stuck the way it is kind of funny. Lila not only being able to shoot eye lasers is great as well. What do you guys think that they're going to do for the rest of the Umbrella Academy? Is Mama Hargreaves going to finally be a big bad reason? Abigail Hargreaves, is she going to be that nice intermediary between the Umbrellas and their dad? Is things all going to... Yep, already down there in the credits too. Is Abigail going to be the great go-between in between, the kids and, Reginald Hargreaves? How is this whole relationship between Ben and Jen going to be? Jennifer? I keep calling her Jennifer. There's a lot of questions in this, and I cannot wait to get the answers. Now, in the meantime, if you guys want some answers, you make sure that you're sticking around here on Nerd Initiative, that you hit the subscribe, you ring the bell, and you tap that thumbs up so that way you let Michael know how well we're doing over here. It is con season coming up, and I can't believe I've already talked for half an hour, and I've already blown through all 3 episodes. Maybe I should have done this as 6 episodes. Oh, well, we're going to have to wait till next week because I haven't watched them all yet. But make sure that with everything going on that you are following along here on the Nerd Initiative, starting off, of course, on Monday night with TV Talk with me, your guy, Off the Cuff Tom. And then next, on Tuesdays, it's Turn a Page. We have a very special episode airing from our friends over at Hops Geek News because real life happens and we got things to do. Wednesday, of course, being the big day for everybody here on Nerd Initiative, it is Comic Book Day. We've got all the fantastic comic book reviews coming out. I got 2 coming out this week. One of them I'm doing joint with my buddy Cell Phone Wallet Keys over from our Play for Keeps show. Wrestling Night Live every single Thursday, dropping in from the top rope. Rich and Ken are going to be bringing through, talking to everything in AEC 4, Generation. I have no idea. I don't follow. And in New Japan Wrestling. I don't talk wrestling. So, but don't forget, New Guy Nick's over there. We've got all this fantastic content coming to you soon. Next week is going to be my last week doing Umbrella Academy. We've got a few things planned out down the road. And then the week after that, I won't be around because I'll be at Official Power Morphicon. So make sure to go and check those guys out. I've got a bunch of great videos coming up soon. We've got a Power Ranger interview with Catherine Sutherland, the second Pink Power Ranger. I've got great amount of content coming. Don't forget, because it's con season, I'm not going to be able to do turn a page for the next 2 weeks. So make sure you get out there, wear your con on your sleeve, wear your nerd on your sleeve, get the shirts, get the hats, get the tumblers, get whatever it is you need to get, and get going over to nerdinitiative.com. As always, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Off the Cuff Tom. It is a pleasure having you. Make sure to be excellent to each other, and I'll see you later.